And we're back with another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale. And I'm Don Henniger, and joining me, as always, is my podcast partner and a man with a big heart for Scottsdale.
Got one.
Kevin Maxwell.
Hey, Mr. Wizard, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm good. You know, I'm always good when we have guests like we have today.
Yeah.
You know, amazing people in Scottsdale. We have another one we're going to talk to today. Her name is Pastor Jackie Parks. She's doing amazing work in our community. She's the lead pastor at the South Scottsdale Presbyterian Church, and she's the founder and executive director of the Community House. Welcome, Jackie.
Thanks. It's happy to be here.
Great to have you here. Let's just tell you a little bit about the Community House, then we're going to start getting into what is a fascinating background that you have. I can't wait to tell people about it and hear it from you. Community House, for those who don't know, helps people who who are searching for physical homeless problems or relationship and need relationship stability, if you will, to experience community, dignity, and hope with a focus on relationships and hospitality. They support people on their journey to get off the streets through day relief centers, meals together, worship, gatherings, outreach, and community events. Kevin, that sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good cause in our community. We're on the board of Family Promise, does similar work. It's so cool to see organizations doing this kind of work.
Non-homed is the term we now use, right?
Is it non-home?
I think, do we use non-home now?
We say friends experiencing homelessness, but that is kind of a mouthful.
Yeah.
I was reading off your mission statement. That's why I sort of I was jumbling over it a little bit. People who are lacking physical homes.
Yeah.
Homeless people.
Yes.
Exactly.
But we also put in there or relational stability.
That's a good point.
We find that a lot of the people that come to visit us, to be a part of our community, some of them actually have homes. They just don't have relationships. They don't have connection.
Really?
They don't have family. And so they come and spend the day with us.
That's super
They
cool.
have
that's
community
even
dinner
better.
with us.
Yeah.
And a lot of especially elderly people that don't get out of their homes very often because they don't have anywhere to go. They'll come and spend the day with us. Yeah. It's pretty great.
So let's back up a little bit. You've been here, you said, almost 10 years.
Yep.
Talk to us about how you got here, where you were before this. And if you don't bring a couple of these cool things in your background, I'm going to ask you about them directly anyway.
Okay.
So tell us about who you are.
Yeah. So I grew up in Maryland. My husband and I are both from Maryland. And we have 3 kids, Lydia, Cole, and Hannah. They're now teenagers. We had been married about 5 years, and then my husband decided that he wanted to start a rock climbing business with our best friends from college in Morocco. So we packed up at that point 2 babies, a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old, and we moved to Morocco.
Wow.
Morocco.
To Morocco.
We're not talking about Morocco, Ohio. We're talking about Morocco.
Morocco. Yeah. So we moved there. We lived in this old city of Fez for a year and learned language and culture. And then we moved to the city of Marrakesh for 4 more years. So that my husband and his friend could start this rock climbing business. And then we put our kids in local schools. So they went to school in French and Arabic for the first 4 years.
Wow.
And we had a third at that point. And we just learned a different culture, a different language, a different life that we loved. And then our kids were getting to the age where education was going to get kind of tricky. I was going to have to start supplementing with English homeschooling.
Right.
And I am not much of a teacher.
Right.
It's not my strong suit. And so we just decided, this is a good time. Our kids were still young enough that they could transition back into American education system. And we didn't really want to go back to the East Coast. We were like, where else do we want to go? We have no jobs and we have nowhere to live. Where do we want to go? And my husband wanted to continue on in the rock climbing outdoor industry. And we had a friend out here that said, hey, there's a group of churches that you could be a part of. You should come move out here. And so we picked Scottsdale and we thought, I think Scottsdale is where we're supposed to be. I think it's where God's leading us to be. And so we packed up our family in Maryland after we came back from Morocco and drove across the country with no jobs and nowhere to live.
Wow.
And landed in Scottsdale. And
Amazing. Wow.
in June.
That's called faith, I think, isn't it?
It was
Like you said, it's a calling.
Yeah. It was quite an endeavor. And we didn't know what we were going to do necessarily. I mean, my husband ended up continues to work in the outdoor industry. And I was raising our kids and trying to figure out what I was going to do here. So
Let me back up to Morocco. So why Morocco?
Well, it's a strategic place because there was no one else doing rock climbing in the country. It's there's actually world-class climbing in Morocco.
Really? Okay.
It's almost as if you're a rock climber to go to Yosemite, but you're the only one there.
Really?
And it's beautiful, and the hospitality is incredible. And we loved the Arab world. We'd traveled there a couple different times to Tunisia and to Morocco before, and we just thought it'd be really fun to live here. And we loved the people and the culture. So
Yeah, it's amazing.
it was great.
Yeah. Wow, what a learning experience. Huh?
Hugely. Yeah. It was really really transformative. A really transformative time.
Yeah. So then you had the calling to become a pastor.
I did.
And that wasn't that long ago, right?
That wasn't right. Yeah.
How did that happen? What was that?
So I had been working in churches and different ministries. And we had to talk a little bit about how Community House started. So I was a part of a church, and we talked about what it meant to love your neighbor a lot. That was a big part of both loving your neighbor, but also embedding yourself in the community. And so I thought, what if we opened up these showers that are on this campus that we could start learning the names of people experiencing homelessness who have now become our friends, loving the least, the last, the lost, and the left out in our communities. And so we did that. We opened up the shower, and it's 6 years ago. So in the summer of 2018. And my kids and I made these little flyers, and we rode up and down the Greenbelt passing out flyers to people that we thought were homeless.
Wow.
You thought they were homeless?
Yeah.
Did you ever cross anybody who was not homeless?
Yeah, there's a really good story actually. I collected all of these. I rallied some church, some friends from church, and we got some toiletries and towels donated, and just basic things. And I was like, okay, we're going to start this week. And so we opened up the shower, and no one came the first day. And then the week 2 came, and no one came. And I was like, okay, we're going to keep persevering. So the third week, we opened it up, and this guy came on campus, and I was like, oh my gosh, someone is here. Yeah. They're here. So I said, oh, are you here to take a shower? And he said, no, I'm here to trim the trees.
Oh.
And I was like, well,
let me take a shower after that.
You can take a shower after you trim the trees.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And so it just started like that. And we continued to grow and to expand, and got more volunteers, and just kind of organically grew after that. And so 2 years had gone by, and COVID happened, 2020. And in the fall of 2020, some things shifted on the campus where we were doing that ministry. And then the city came to us in 2020. They knew about what we were doing, and they said, hey, you guys are really the only ones that are doing this consistent weekly caring for the homeless. We have some money that we could do case management if you'd be willing to open up the space for an entire day instead of just doing 2 hours at a time doing showers. And so we said, okay, sure, we'll do that. And some things, like I said, shifted. And so about that same time, another church said, would you come and be a pastor here? Would you start a church on this campus? And I said, of course, I'd love to do that. It's going to be, we're going to continue to center the poor and our friends experiencing homelessness. But we already had a group of people that were involved in that. And so it was a really natural thing to just start this worshiping community and become a pastor.
That's South Scottsdale Presbyterian.
That's South Scottsdale Presbyterian.
So that didn't exist until you started?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was the community house location before that?
So it was the same place.
Oh, same place. Okay.
So yeah, that's where we have been doing that for six and a half years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a journey, that's for sure.
So you've created the community house, but you also created a church.
Yeah.
How'd that go? And how is it going?
It's going great. It's, it's something that I had never done before. It's a challenge, but a beautiful challenge. It's a gift to me to be able to create a community that, that centers, like I said before, the least, the last, the lost, and the left out, which is what I really believe we're called to do as the church. And so, to build this community is one of the greatest privileges of my life, and to get to see that happening with our congregation and our friends experiencing homelessness, and the relationships that are built and the way they're caring for one another. It just is a great picture of what I think the kingdom of God looks like.
I was going to say, Kim, she's doing God's work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, that's embarrassing though when somebody you kind of mistake somebody for being homeless. One time I was driving. It was back when I used to work at the office. I used to go in early mornings, like 6:30. It's dark outside. One morning I'm driving to work and I stopped at Starbucks and it was kind of raining. It was really chilly that day, and I saw a guy while I was sitting in line. I saw a guy standing by the bus stop. He was smoking, and I don't know. I for some reason my heart just opened up. I'm like, I'm gonna order that guy a sandwich too. So I got me one. I got him one, and I was leaving. I pulled out. I rolled my window down. I'm like, hey, buddy, here you go, and he's like, do you think I'm homeless? Well, I'm like, I don't know. Are you? I didn't know what to say.
Are you hungry?
I don't know. He goes, well, do you want the sandwich or not?
I'll always take a free
Yeah,
sandwich.
right.
So
Well, okay.
that doesn't matter to me.
I felt embarrassed. I didn't know what to do.
Better than McCormick Ranch, but I'll take the sandwich.
Yeah.
I know.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just assumed you. I don't know. That probably wasn't a very good assumption on my part. But
I mean, I think I'm sure I've made just so many mistakes. That's just the nature of the work that we do, right? You're just never quite sure.
well, I guess it's always a good effort anyway.
Your
But
heart's in the right
generosity, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, generosity is
Never
never
go wrong.
It's never, you can never go wrong with generosity.
Totally right. Your heart's in the right place.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Interesting that you've started a church in an era when maintaining church strength is such a challenge.
Yeah.
Church attendance is down across the board, and now you are starting a church and kind of bucking the trend. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because when they said, "Hey, will you come and start a church?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to, but I just want you to know that it's gonna we're like I said, we're gonna really care for the homeless, and we're gonna really pursue this path that we believe that God's given us." And they said, "Well, that will never work because no one will give, and like no one will give money. Like you won't have enough people to sustain that." And I said, "Well, that's okay. We'll just do it anyway." And I also say, like, no one gives you a template. No one gives you the recipe for success that says, hey, after COVID, you should start a homeless with a woman pastor that cares for the homeless.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's been so beautiful. If I could, the amount of our friends experiencing homelessness that actually come and give us money, they
really
oftentimes will come and say, hey, I want to give you this money because this is my community and I want to contribute. I want to give back. To even if it's just, I mean, I've gotten multiple envelopes with just pennies in it, but
is that right?
But it's important for our friends to feel like they're a part of something, that they belong to a place, they belong to a community, and they're contributing in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
So how's the shower going now? Are you still up and running? Yeah,
the shower is very successful. It's grown year after year after year.
So word of mouth then?
Word of mouth, yeah, and we're kind of the only place in this area, right? And in this vicinity, in this East Valley. You can go to Mesa or Tempe, but really east of, I'd say, 32nd Street, there really isn't anything for friends experiencing homelessness, any place for people to just be for the day, to get showers, resources that they need, clothing, dinners, those sorts of things. And so last year our goal was to serve 400 people, and we served over 600 people last year.
Really?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So we regularly have about 100 friends every week that come.
100 every week?
Every week. Mm-hmm.
Really? On Sundays?
On Mondays,
on
yeah,
Mondays?
for resources. So Mondays is our day relief day. We partner with the city, so they host Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we host Mondays.
Okay.
We have a bigger facility where people can be for the day, so people can come and sleep for the day. They can take showers. They can get connected to food and clothing and any resources that they need. We have Circle the City that comes and does healthcare. We have case management. We now have a partnership with ASU Nursing. So they're teaching their students how to practice empathy and compassionate listening, and trying to help them learn how to do these, would you say, like, the care that you would get from a family member, right? Like, kind of helping people learn to advocate for themselves and know what is available to them in the healthcare sort of space. I like to say that they, if any of us were to go visit a friend or a family member and we had some sort of ailment or sickness, our family member would say, well, have you thought about this? Have you done this? Have you gone to this place? Have you talked to this person? And our friends don't have anything like that.
Right.
And so these nursing students get to kind of fill in that gap of a home where they are getting to talk with our friends and build relationships so that they can help them learn what's available.
So
for
tell
them.
us more about the people who come to you who may not necessarily be homeless,
Yeah.
but they're lonely or need some relationship building or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's a really chronic issue right now, health related issue right now. We're talking about where men, but it could be anybody really,
Yeah.
that just doesn't have a lot of strong relationships in their life.
Yeah. They, it's sometimes hard to distinguish, but oftentimes we find that people, I think, oh, are you homeless? And they say, oh no, I have a home. I just like to be around people.
Yeah.
And there's other places that they can go, but now after all these years, we've become a space where they're known and they know that they're loved and they're seen. And we're easy to get to because we're right on that bus line right there on Hayden.
Yeah.
And so we try and provide as much as we can for them in terms of relational support, or if they need food, oftentimes people will come, and we have a partnership with Midwest Food Bank. So we have a food bank that people can come, they know they can come easily get the resources that they need. Or we have community dinners. That's a huge part of who we are, is we eat together a lot. So we have monthly dinners on Sundays or monthly lunches on Sundays, and then weekly dinners on Monday nights.
Wow,
so we have different churches that come and bring dinners and volunteer. And so people know they can get a really good dinner also on Monday night, and they're going to sit around the table with someone and have a conversation where maybe that's the only time they get to do that week.
Wow.
And you invite them into worship on Sundays when you have your worshiping too, right?
Yeah.
And on Sundays, tell me about how the church operates. You have worship every Sunday?
We have worship every Sunday at
Okay.
11 a.m.
Okay.
Yep. 11 a.m. in the chapel.
Okay.
It's a contemporary, very low key. We're like a small family.
Okay.
But everyone's welcome.
Well, that's great.
I
Yeah.
usually preach every Sunday.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah. So we're kind of hitting everything. There's different angles, and we're kind of hitting every angle. We like to think that we like to hope that we're providing this holistic care for people.
The relationship piece is huge.
Yeah.
Huge
for people. I mean, we know that's the one thing we've just discovered in even the family promise work that we do, establishing relationships between people who are serving the homeless and people who are homeless. That connection is so powerful.
That's right. And we really count it a privilege to do this in Scottsdale, and that we get to get our families involved. My kids have been involved since the very beginning, and they know everyone by name. And some of my greatest joys are when some of our congregants or our volunteers will say, oh, I saw Dana at this bus stop, and so I decided, I should take him out for lunch. And so just grab him from the bus stop and take him out for lunch.
Really?
And that happens very often. Or it's someone's birthday, and they get celebrated. We know it's their birthday, and so someone will bring him a cake, and we'll celebrate on a Sunday or on a Monday. Or if someone passes away, we try and provide services for them, or some sort of like community time where people can come and eat and share stories about this person that they loved, that was a part of their community, that maybe we don't want anyone to be forgotten.
Yeah.
That's big. Yeah.
That's good work.
Sure is. So talk a little bit about the future. You've got some things in the
We
hopper
do.
right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So we are a homeless ministry, a church that is about to be homeless ourselves.
Right.
So we are currently looking for a new location, which is hard for us, to be honest, but it also provides an opportunity for growth. We haven't been able to grow in the ways that we think we would get to serve Scottsdale in an even greater capacity, and we look forward to doing that. And so we're looking for a new location in the South Scottsdale area where we can expand what we do. Right now, we can only be there one day a week from 11 to 7, and we've been doing this for 6 years with only one shower.
Oh.
So we usually get about 45 people through the shower.
45?
Yeah. We get 45 people through a shower on a Monday.
You got to move them pretty quick, don't you?
We go quick.
Right,
we have volunteers that are on top of this.
Really? That's a lot of shampoo.
There's a lot of shampoo. There's a lot of resources. So we're looking for a place where we can expand the days that we're offering this day relief, where we can expand the amount of showers that we can do on a regular basis, that we've started a workforce development program in the last couple of weeks. So wanting to partner with local businesses and then do peer support groups for our friends experiencing homelessness to start working to get off the streets as they learn how to get a job and work with people and save money. And so we're trying to start that program. And so we want to create a bigger space that we can do more, provide more and more opportunities for people. So we're looking for something, like I said, in the South Scottsdale area, ideally from Indian School we'd even go North Tempe, like down to the 202. And then probably as far, we'd like to stay from like 64th Street to Pima. Those are kind of our areas. And
because that's the community you serve now.
That's the community we serve
and
now.
they can transition hopefully to something very easily.
That's
hopefully.
right. Yeah.
They can go with you. They can find
That's
you.
right. Yeah. I mean, everyone will go with us.
Yeah.
There's no,
Right.
there's no question about
Nowhere else
that.
to go, right?
That's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And then obviously a bus line,
Mhm.
something that's easily accessible by foot or by public transportation. But
You need a place to have your church though too. So
it would be a place. I mean, we will make space. So we're ideally looking for, like a big multi-use space that could be transformed into different things throughout the week. We can worship there. We can do Bible studies there. We can do day relief a couple days a week. We can provide, community events. We can do celebrations there. So really just a big multi-use space that is easily tenant improved.
And you would use it all week long.
We would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally. I mean, we would,
Right.
right now we're sharing the space with another church where we currently are. And it's worked out okay, but we can only do it one day a week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ideally we'd have a space that we could utilize multiple days of the week.
So you're looking for a good building, basically. Right?
We could use a warehouse.
Yeah,
We are
right.
not picky about our space. And that's one beautiful thing about our whole community, the church, the community house, all of it. Everyone just wants to be together.
Right.
It really doesn't matter the space necessarily.
Who's
It's-
helping you look for a space? Are you doing it on your own? Or?
No, we have a commercial realtor
Okay.
that we're working with through
Okay,
Rev
good.
Rose.
So, okay.
And then a bunch of other people know that we're looking and are helping
So
us.
the word's out there.
The word is out there. It's
Okay.
continuing to get out there.
Good.
And so where's your financial support come for all of this?
So we've had private donors that have been helping. We've started applying for grants now that we have our 501c3. So before 2023, Community House looked like just a grassroots volunteer
Right.
sign up genius sort of situation. And in 2023, we thought, it'd probably be good to start make this a 501c3. So we are we are official nonprofit and we are taking donations and we're always looking for more donations if it's the end of the year. So if people are looking to give towards caring for the vulnerable in our community, we will happily bring you on board as a partner with us.
Do you take the tax credit part of the tax credit program?
Not yet.
Okay, you
No,
will be though.
we will
It's
be.
just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So we will be.
Yeah. You have a board all set up, so you've got the structure of a 501c3.
So the structure is a 501c3.
Okay.
So we have a board, we have we have volunteers, we have we had about 125 new volunteers this past
Oh, wow,
year.
that's great.
And so we're just building that infrastructure for this organization that's already on the move and already doing really good work. And we were like, oh, we should probably put some scaffolding around this to provide long-term sustainability.
What kind of programming growth would you like to have? Would you like to do different types of programming, or what other kind of services would you like to provide to the community?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, though, we'd love to build this workforce development program. We think that's a really important piece of people getting off the streets. Also, the other big piece is behavioral health, right? Like we would love to start to provide more and more behavioral health, like group classes, because we've ended up becoming a place where people trust and they feel safe to be there, whereas they maybe don't want to take advantage of other potential offerings. In other places, they would take advantage of offerings from us. So we're looking at expanding into those sorts of situations or those sorts of programming to help people continue to move off the street.
I'd love to see ways that we can incorporate your mission into some of the common missions, like people like Scottsdale Leadership.
Yeah.
They do programs that help organizations like yours. I mean, really love to see if we can help you get on up the radar screen a little bit.
So we were a PLIF
were you?
project.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
It was all about it.
Why am I not
It was all about
surprised?
it.
Why am I not surprised?
So last year they helped us move. They were a huge help. They helped us do two things. One was to develop a strategic plan that we've been kind of working that plan and continuing to develop our board and develop more funding opportunities and the staff and the scaffolding to continue to grow. And then also we had been working out of this like tiny closet in our back off of the big chapel where we do all of our things. And they made us a room that is beautiful and has a salon space so people can get their haircuts also.
Really?
And so we call it our hub, our community house hub.
Pastor Jackie has mentioned PLIF. That stands for Project Lead It Forward, which is a Scottsdale leadership program.
Yeah.
So all the classes that go through, which Don and I are alumni of. So as you go through the Scottsdale leadership program, you participate in the Project Lead It Forward, and every year it's something different. So you guys were a benefactor of that.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for us, and we're grateful for it.
Super excited to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how, what have you learned about yourself via all the work that you're doing in ministry and in community outreach? What has that meant to you personally? What have you learned about yourself?
Oh, that's a really great question. I think I've learned how important it is to be in proximity with our friends experiencing homelessness. I think I've learned how much we actually have in common. I just happen to have a couple of extra safety nets in place. But some of the same struggles that our friends have with, motivation and trusting people and all of those sorts of human behaviors and human patterns. I struggle with those also. And I have stronger safety nets available to me. And so I think it's shown me a lot about myself. And it's shown me the beauty of humanity. There are very few places where you expect someone to be one way, and then in a surprising shift, they teach you something, right? This past week, I was cleaning up the campus after a Monday and trying to find jobs for the multiple of our friends that were waiting around looking for jobs to help clean up, because everyone wanted to stay and help do something around the campus, clean up this or wash down this table, or I just didn't have enough jobs for people to do. And so we ended up just standing around and talking. And one guy was like, "Oh, we just moved into a new house." And he said, "Oh, how's your garage door?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought much about it." And he's like, "Well, if you need any help, I used to work on garage doors." And he started listing out all these things to look for. And if I needed help with garage doors, I should call him and talk to him. And I'm just always like, wow, people, like, I think God's so creative in how he's made all of us with these different passions and different ways that we contribute to the world. And so, and this has been just such a huge gift of a ministry to me, to get to see the creativity of each person when you really take time to sit and listen and be curious about the different people that come into your life. So
the lost art of listening.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Listening with ears, the ears that actually listen and hear, right?
Yeah.
You see references to that in the Bible all the time. Do you really listen? Do you have ears to listen?
Yeah.
And really listening to people makes a big difference.
Yeah.
A great story.
Yeah. Sure is.
I mean, like, once again, Don, here we are able to highlight somebody and put the spotlight on them when we have so much misery and so much bleakness in this world.
We do.
To talk to somebody here who has as a shining beacon, a
shining star, and we have so much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because we don't look everybody in the eye, And I always go out of my way when I see somebody who I think is homeless on the street, even if I'm not going to pull out my wallet and give them any money, but look them in the eye.
Yeah. Ask their name.
Ask their name. Say, how you doing? And just acknowledge their presence.
That's right.
Even if you do nothing more than that, then you probably made a little bit of a difference.
Yeah. I can't tell you the amount of times that on any given day, I say, hey, I'm so happy to see you. And the response is, I'm so happy to be seen.
Yeah.
Really?
To be seen. Sure.
Oh, wow.
Because they feel like they're invisible.
Yeah. That's right.
They don't matter.
That's
they're invisible to society.
That's right.
And they're not. They're human beings like all of us.
That's right.
Wow. This is a great holiday podcast, man.
I know. I'm uplifted right now.
My heart's warming up right now.
I'm
turn up a little bit
too. I hope you guys stay close, because your current location, I just learned about your program. Your current location is so close to where I live.
Yeah.
I hope that you get stay someplace close so I can still have proximity to you.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to invite you guys and anyone that's listening to come visit us on Mondays are our greatest days, Monday between 11 and 7. And if you have coats, we're really looking for winter coats.
You need coats?
And
we got
blankets and sleeping bags. It's getting cold at night. So we would be really appreciative of anything.
I might want to go hear her preach too.
Come on.
I was thinking the same thing.
Problem is we got to sneak out of St. Barnabas to go watch her preach.
Yeah, don't tell him.
I won't tell him. Exactly right.
Her service is at 11, so
11 a.m.
A little bit tight. Yeah, but we can sneak her out early. Whatever. That sounds good. But,
we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I'd love to be there too. Pastor Jackie, what a delight it's been to meet you and to talk about what you're doing, and you're doing wonderful work.
You guys, thank you so much.
Oh, it's
the greatest privilege in my life to do this. So
how can people find you? Is it communityhouse.com or what's the website?
Communityhouseaz.org.
Communityhouseaz.org. Check it out. If you can help her out with anything, volunteers, like she just talked about the coats and blankets and sleeping bags that she could use. And, if you're a realtor out there and you got a piece of property somewhere that maybe she could look into, let's not forget about that either. But Jackie, thank you so much. And thank you to all for listening again. I hope you'll continue to share our stories, particularly when there's stories like this with everybody that you know, especially this time of the year when we all use a bit of a inspiration and a touch to our hearts. So, and I hope you'll tune in for the next edition of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.